Okay, guys,
Yeah, probably.
so
She broke.
call the meeting to order. This is Wednesday, June 11th. It's 9 o'clock. We are at the Mounds View City Hall Council Chambers
Here
at
more
their
later.
largesse. We appreciate that. Let record reflect that the managers, except for Steve Wagaman, are present. Steve is absent with prior notice. And if we could set the agenda, please.
Yes, President Bradley, based on our discussion at the workshop, please remove action item 4, Anoka County Ditch 102232.
I believe that's items requiring board action number 1.
Correct, yep.
All right.
Alternative 4, correct.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yep.
Alternative 4. Thank you for that correction.
No other changes proposed.
Okay, did anyone else have any changes?
Mr. Chair, just really quickly, because we also discussed in workshop, potentially moving that open mic and public comment period to, prior to consent agenda items and approval of the minutes, to just make sure that's kind of the first order of business as we engage with the public. I know we had dialogue making that permanent. I don't know if you want me to make this recommendation every,
No,
meeting?
no,
Okay.
no. What I would prefer is that we make that a item requiring board action so that we do it for the next meeting,
sure, you got it.
Okay, perfect.
future meetings.
So is that item number 2 on today's board actions?
That would be just fine. Any other changes? If not, can I have a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you for that. Okay, I guess we're at minutes.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the minutes of the May 28, 2025 regular meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. We are on to Patrick, consent agenda.
Good morning, Board of Managers. Yes, staff have one application for your consideration today. Happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions of Patrick? If not, then I would move to conditionally approve pending receipt of changes the project 25-050 in accordance with district engineer's findings and recommendations as contained in the engineer's findings and recommendations, and its report dated June 2nd, 2025. Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Passes. Nick, we have withdrawn.
President Bradley?
Okay, Molly.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Good.
Board of
That's the right
Managers.
thing to do today. There you
Today,
go.
for the consent agenda for the Water Quality Grant Program, we have one application in Ramsey County. The application is R25-06 for a curb cut rain garden. It was discussed at length at the CAC meeting on June 5th. Manager Wynett was present for that, and the CAC was in support of the project with consensus of 9-0. The project will be a cost share of 75% at $7,432.50. And if you have any questions, I invite you to ask them now.
Any questions for Molly?
So if there's no questions, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the consent agenda as outlined in the table of contents, which is to approve the cost share application R25-06 in accordance with the RCWD Outreach Grant Technician's recommendation and the recommendation of the CIC, Citizens Advisory Committee.
I will
Dated
second.
June 5th.
I will second that. Any discussion?
I would also just like to add that, yes, it was discussed, and it's probably one of the most southern applications we've gotten in our watershed.
Oh, got it. Geographically speaking.
Geographically.
It was like someone had an
I
accent.
mean,
I wasn't sure.
we are like almost.
Like I Susan.
Yeah, it's way down there.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, it's awesome. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
Thank you.
So we are moving past item 1, which was Anoka County Ditch 102232 Alternative 4.
President Bradley,
Yes?
Open mic.
Oh, see, now that's why we need to have it first.
Well,
Also, the fact that there's nobody here and nobody on the phone. But yes, right, acknowledge that if there were somebody here, and if someone were on the phone, and if someone wanted to speak, this would be the time for the open mic.
yes,
Not having that opportunity, we'll move on now.
yes. Thank you. President Bradley, with the removal of item 1 for action, we are now at Houston Engineering Task Order 2025-013, which is the district's annual district-wide modeling program updates. This is, as the title suggests, an annual endeavor to keep our model fresh and relative. It's updated with changes on the landscape of significance that impact the model. It does also include some conversions of the model to all different software. There's a number of different softwares in play here, and we did budget to update models accordingly. Happy to answer any questions. It is found on page 94 of your packet.
Does anyone have any questions, Nick? Hearing none, can we have a motion, please?
Motion, huh? Mr. Chair, I move to approve and authorize Board President to sign Houston Engineering's Task Order 2025-013, 2025 District-Wide Modeling Program Annual Update.
Is there a second, please?
I'll second that, Mr. President, but I notice there's no cost that we usually have with a task.
I was just gonna ask that,
It's,
$32 or
hidden in here
$35,200.
It's usually in the motion.
96.
Why don't you add that to the motion?
Sure.
All right, I'll-
For the amount of $35,200 for engineering services described within this task order.
Fabulous.
I'll accept the amendment.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, passes. Darcy?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move approval of the check register dated June 11th.
We amended
Oh,
the agenda.
Sorry.
Oh, yes, this is the
Sorry.
elusive open mic issue.
We want to
It
get that
keeps
done too.
disappearing. We need to get it so it doesn't disappear.
Yeah.
Would you please present it?
Sure, Mr. Chair. As discussed in the workshop and I think previous meetings that we mentioned in live time, my recommendation would be to permanently move the item for open mic and public comment to immediately following either the roll call or the setting, probably the roll call, quite frankly, to permanently move that so that if there are comments related to the consent agenda or even grants, applications that we have in, that the public is allowed to comment on those items before they're voted on.
And I will second, I'll take that as a motion.
Yep.
And
And
I'm
I
not
will
sure
s-
technically how it needs to be phrased, but I guess I would make a motion to
Okay.
permanently move the open mic period
And-
to immediately following the roll call moving forward on
And
it.
I will second that. The only thing, a correction I would point out publicly is that open mic is primarily for items not on the agenda. Items on the agenda are always open to people asking, coming forward to speak on those particular.
Agreed, and
Yeah.
it may be helpful in the future then, when we do open that open mic period, to just read the narrative around it so that the public is aware that there's not a ton of engagement with the board of directors, that there's follow-up from staff that can happen in the aftermath of whatever comments are made here. Because the narrative in there spells it out pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
That's great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you for that improvement. Now we're to the check register.
All right, we're at the check register. I move approval of the check register dated June 11th, 2025, in the amount of $181,806.02, prepared by Redpath and Company.
Second.
Any discussion? Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. District engineer updates and timelines. Chris, you have anything you want to add?
Mr. President, I don't have anything specific to add, but certainly can address any questions.
Any questions of Chris? All right, Nick, I believe we're up to You.
Yes, administrator updates. Board of Managers, I'll make note, the work continues at Hanson Park on the iron enhanced sand filter. One of our issues, unfortunately, is dealing with the water and the way its interaction with the electrical system. There were two reports in your document for work orders. One was for wiring, but we needed to also physically move the box that contains the wiring, get it out of harm's way, so to speak. This wasn't foreseen, but good feedback loop on design, and we'll get those moving. So, point of clarity. Other than that, we do have some management opportunities on Lower Rice Creek. As you know, we frequently collaborate with the willing landowner or opportunities that exist. Anoka County, in this case, has a number of road projects in the area of Fridley, one of which is on Old Central, where it intersects with Rice Creek. The district has a previous bank stability analysis identifying locations that are in need of work. The county has recognized that this is a great opportunity for us to enter the creek while the road is closed and such. So at the forthcoming meeting, we would like to bring the task order forward to have Houston Engineering look at that. That's being developed right now with Matt and the rest of the team, and we'll bring it to get the work moving. We want to be able to align their work with the district's access opportunity. So that's all I have.
Good.
Question, Mr. President. So you're talking about doing some bank stabilization then? Is that on
Correct.
On this part of?
Yep.
This would be just a little bit farther up from the Fridley campus, city campus?
Yes,
Yeah.
farther upstream,
Above
south
Moore
of
Lake and-
south of
Yeah.
Medtronic
Okay.
on
Yeah.
Old Central. There's also a water quality. There's a storm sewer outfall in the location, goes into the creek, and they'll be looking at that as well.
Thank you.
I have a question for Nick. I just want to point out that we did take 10/22/32 off the agenda, and I have 2 printed packets of that information.
Yeah,
If I would encourage our board members to hang on to those.
Yes.
And maybe Teresa doesn't have to print yet again.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same.
It's a wonderful idea.
yeah,
Save the trees, Teresa.
Teresa says thank you.
yeah.
Good.
I will
So-
keep these close.
Just for point of clarity, because this is the same agenda that goes before the public, we will physically have them electronically, and obviously our display item and stuff will have to have it. So
Right.
there is some nuance. You have to stop the printer and change things up, but we can,
Change the date on the website. Yes.
well, and remove the content that you're saying not to print from it, but have it remain for the rest of the people.
For the
That-
public.
Yes.
Oh, for
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Yes.
both
I'm
will
happy
take
with 2
place.
copies. You don't have to make another.
Yeah,
Third time's a charm, Marcy.
right.
Manager Waller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I attended the Washington County Consortium for the first Wednesday of this month. 2 items were on the agenda. There was the water policy and funding for the 2025 legislative session. And then there, most of the time was taken up talking about urban forestry. So, as you know, we have an ash problem with the boar, and it's killed so many trees, and all the cities are having a problem with this. This has been a topic now. It's been a couple of the months of the consortium. At the last one, they said there's like 550,000 tons a year that have to be removed. And Washington County has created a program, of course, for the logs to become. There's no cost for anybody to put the logs there, including the commercial folks, and they're going off to a lumber mill. The other branches are being chopped in, that's what they call the biochar, which means they're going to burn them in a hot furnace. But today, his meeting was about a management change in how urban areas are managing the replacement of trees. And 50 years ago, we had the problem with Dutch elm, and huge amounts of Dutch elm had to be removed, elm trees. We replaced them with ash
Of course we did.
And we did, because elm had been so uniform, we used the same process or procedure with uniformly putting ash through there. So they've come to the conclusion as foresters that at this time when the cities replaced the trees, there'd be a mix rather than a uniform of the next disease, whatever comes through and kills it all. And also, some of the cities have gotten, I thought this was a little over the top, but created ordinances where if you have it in your yard, you have to have it removed. And this, of course, knowing how neighbors are neighbors, you know, somebody will be upset that it's not being removed fast enough. And this is quite a cost to remove those trees. It's, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, depending on what's being, and that's can be a strain on budgets. So I was disappointed to hear that Stillwater was so aggressive in enforcement that way. But they were, as the city was removing them all on their parks and such and so. And then the other item I guess I talk about is, let me see here, was our special meeting that we had with 5362. And we had one comment come in from a gentleman named Rocky. And he was basically saying that he didn't see a large impact for the amount of money that was done on the maintenance on the drainage system. And I just, I can understand how he feels about that. And it may be impractical to actually do it, because it reminded me of one of my boards that I bring today. Since it's a short meeting, I can have a little fun today. This is in Nick's records. You can find it. Patrick verified that for me. This is a letter that the Rice Creek Watershed District sent to the township of Forest Lake at the time about the crossing over JD2. And they are saying that if we ever find the records, you may have to change your 90-inch pipe. Well, they did. They made it 10 by 10 when we found the records. But I wanted to point out to you is that historic research, where is it here? The records seem to have been lost. I think that's what they put in here. If the records are recovered, we'll have to do something.
Yeah.
This is just JD2, and I want to note the date on this, 1991. The district was created in 1972. This is 19 years later. And by the way, the records that they're talking about for JD2, I personally was involved in finding those about 5 years ago. So, but it's not just JD2, it was, which JD2 happens to be a trunk system. It was a trunk system all those years. It's one of the 3 trunk systems we have, main arteries. It has JD7 and JD5 that go into it. All of these records for JD Washington 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 were all in the same box, in the same place in the recorder's office where they're supposed to be. But for some reason, and this has changed now, so the public knows this, these records couldn't be found. And so our entire drainage system, this isn't just true in Washington County, it was also true of Anoka, was managed for almost a quarter of a century with no knowledge of what the profiles are. And that's why we've gone through this historical review through a long process. And this came about because citizens came up and used the public forum to complain and begin with talking, and eventually this became items that you put on the agenda so we could have a chat back with the boards. But you imagine that, the consultants who are professional engineers, no reflection on our current ones, they're the ones who have brought into it, no reflection on our current lawyers, because this letter is drafted by the lawyers, and no reflection on the current board or staff. Like, can you imagine that? For over 20 years, this district with 100 and some odd miles of ditches. And so when the gentleman Rocky comes in, and I understand that failing to manage those drainage systems as they're required to do results in other problems that make providing the drainage to be at the proper profile impractical. And I recognize that, Mr. President, as you know, but nevertheless, I just thought I'd bring this in today to show you that, and you've been here quite a while, sir, so have I, and of the progress that's been made in actually providing the taxpayers with the flood maintenance control that they pay for. You know? So,
And we also had a discussion about the fact that not individual properties may not see, it's stormwater.
yeah, I understand.
And the importance of maintaining stormwater outlets for the entire area.
You're true, individual properties may not recognize it immediately. But the fact that the gentlemen, the individual property owners were the ones that made this system start to be repaired. It wasn't the government. No offense to the government at the time
No
or the
doubt about
consultants. And it was through the process of the public forum being able to come into the open mic and begin it. And I will tell you that sitting on that aisle, out in the aisle there, as an individual and coming here and talking to the board and having a very polite smile and then being ignored for not just one meeting, but for years of what we had to go through and to get this done. And it wasn't just us, there were folks from Anoka County that were there at the same time. And so I'm all for having a more aggressive program on our maintenance. I want to remind everyone that it was in 2003, I reckon, that the first year we did a serious repair on JD2, and that was the first ditch system that was done on this. And that's only, the 25-year rule is in 28. And so I'd like to get a program started where we've established what these profiles are, a more diligent maintenance program than what we have. If we put in, it's like over on 4, where we need to do some work right now. So with that, Mr. President, I didn't bring any more show and tell.
Thank you, Manager Wald. Manager Wynn.
The only thing I would say is that I do intend to go to Roseau to the Watershed meeting, and I'll see you that morning before I leave.
Oh.
So, because you so kindly moved the meeting
To
to
Monday.
the 23rd of June.
Yeah, so let's get a chance to update everyone that, yes, our next meeting is on a Monday, which we moved to accommodate the Minnesota Watershed Summer Tour. Manager Robertson, any updates?
I do not have any updates at this time, thank you.
And nor do I. So a motion to adjourn, I would think. would
I
be-
move to adjourn, Mr. President.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No discussion? Thank you. We're adjourned.